sticking that out.
Good evening.
I saw that.
I'd like to call this meeting to order. We have the prayer and the pledge by Councilwoman Deidre Ledbetter.
Dear Lord, as we enter this new year, we ask for your divine guidance in every step we take. Lead us on the path you have designed for us and grant us the wisdom to make decisions that align with your will. May your light shine upon our paths, helping us avoid pitfalls and making clear the direction we should go. Protect us from the distractions of this world and focus our heart and mind on you. Let this year be a season of growth and deeper trust in your unfailing love. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Present.
Councilmember Brooke Marcotte. Here. Councilmember Marlon Lewis.
Here.
Councilmember David Broussard.
Here.
Councilmember Deidre Ledbetter.
Here.
Councilmember Dees Johnson-Reed. Here. Councilmember Dan Dahl.
Here.
Turn that on again.
Thank you. Item 1, public comment. Do we have any comment cards? We do. Good. I'll ask you this time to put your phone on silent.
Let me check that.
And, Madam Clerk?
Ronald Davis to discuss crime in the city.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity to come before you to just bring a tough and hot subject that we all can probably recognize, and that is the crime within the city. Some of you may recognize me, newly elected, and I may be trading places with you real soon.
You'll be sitting up here soon.
But being that we're getting out of the old year, going into the new year, we're hoping on to bring some changes, in particular with this crime. Through my forums that I sat in, that was always a topic. That was a subject that needed to be dealt with, and some were not as familiar as others. But of course, we have one city, and this is a citywide problem. My area, in particular in District 5, I've seen and I've heard a lot of complaints. I've witnessed a lot of people going through this grief where we've had children been shot, we had elderly, we had just multitudes of things that are going on. And hopefully we can bring this to a close with this old year going out and the new year coming in. So I'm looking forward to working with you all to see where we can get in and where we can fit in to make a difference, okay? Because like I said, it's everywhere, okay? And it may be kind of deep in District 5, but it's across the city, and I think it's a citywide problem that we need to address. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any other cards? Okay. Thank you for that very much. Madam Clerk, 2A.
Acceptance of the minutes, regular meeting of December 3rd, 2024, which were published on December 7th, 2024.
I need a motion.
Motion. Second.
Motion by Councilman Marlon Lewis, a second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Is there any comments on our minutes from December the 3rd? Hearing and seeing none, please vote your machines. Thank you. 3A.
David Broussard to present correspondence from the Louisiana Department of Transportation regarding the closure of the Caroline Street Railroad crossing.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Mayor, we got a letter addressed to you, Honorable Freddie Decourt, Mayor of Iberia. Crossings in Iberia. My name is Sean Luke, and I work in DOTD Highway Rail Unit. I wanted to send you a letter to update you on the project we have in Iberia. Involves most of the crossings through downtown, as well as some outside of downtown area. Bill Shrewsbury, who was managing the project for DOTD, retired recently. I have taken over managing this project until the vacancy is filled. I've consulted with our BNSF contacts, and learn the following information regarding the track raise and signal installations. BNSF and their contractor are currently coordinating with the utilities in this project area, determining conflicts and arranging how to resolve them. They anticipate this phase to be complete by the end of the year, After utility coordination is complete, they will start raising the track and adjusting the roadway approaches. This is also when they will close Providence Street crossing. They anticipate that this will start in the first quarter of 2025. They have started ordering the signal material, and installation work is also anticipated to start the first quarter of 2025. If there is no major issues, they anticipate all this work to be complete by the end of summer 2025, middle of the third quarter of 2025. The closure of Caroline Street is also part of this project. DOTD is partnering with BNSF so their roadway contractor can remove the roadway approaches and install necessary barricades. This will allow for a better quality closure. DOT is in process of setting up the funding internally to reimburse BNSF. Unfortunately, this is taking a significant amount of time. This is not unique to this project. However, we are routinely following up with the group that performs this task. I hope this update addresses the questions and concerns you have. If you need any assistance or additional information, please feel free to contact me. I'm talking to Mr. Luke that sent this letter today. Mr. Mayor, he looked like he's very concerned. We got to run around a lot with some other coordinators. And this fellow looked like sincerely will push this project forward. He says in this letter that it's been a unique situation we have, taken a lot longer. We've given reports to the people already that this project should have been done a year or two ago, but they're running across a few roadblocks. But all through the years, Mr. Mayor, this council, several other councils since 2003 have been working on this project. Overpass first, couldn't do the overpass, still need it. But before we lost that money, we dedicated, not just me, this councils have moved the money. The next best thing was arms and lights at these railroad tracks. So I want to thank all the councils, a lot of councils. That's a long time since 2003, 22 years. Mr. Vitter got a hold of this message. It takes each and every one of us. Grab a project, bring it to the council. Get your support of the council. A lot of years I didn't have support of my delegation. The delegation to push these funds. But we talked enough where they got the concern that it's a safety item. Let's get on board, and they all on board. And so I want to thank all the councils, past and present. Mr. Mayor, we sat up here, all these projects.
Yeah.
You know, we all voted. We all had a lot to do with these projects because we all voted every time something come up. We've been lucky we have a lot of federal money, grants, matching money. You know, it didn't take much to get it going and use up that big money. But, Mr. Mayor, I want to thank you, sir, for leading our council for 8 years. And Dan, Ricky, all the rest of this council. I'm talking Dan and Ricky and myself. The ones that served 8 to 12 years, 15 years, Dan, 18 years. That's a lot. Serve the people. Fine projects. But I want to thank y'all for supporting me through the years. And to the people, it's finally coming to true. This letter should be showing the people. There's enough reporting on this. It should come happen. So we did as much pushing as we can. I want to thank my family, my wife of 52 years, Margie, Giselle, Christy Broussard, David that's not available. That's family. You can't do this without good family behind you to come do all this extra work. A lot of extra work. Go to Baton Rouge on your own time and go. They got to support me. But it did, and I got 3 grandkids. And that's all. I want to count the family in place. But I thank everybody for putting up with this. I want to give the report to the citizens that we might see safety. Mr. Chief, safety. You have to go to Bank Street and have wreck. We haven't had no wrecks at Bank Street lately, right, Mr. Chief? But it's been bad through the years. Through the years, they've had the trains don't stop at a half a mile down the road towards Ann, but when it hits that car, they have bad wrecks. But they have arms and lights now at Bank. Corrine, Evanson has arms and lights. Deer, all have arms and lights. So we're hoping that this will finish all arms and lights. And Mr. Mayor, your city will be safe after this. Maybe in North Louisiana, they have a couple of towns that have signs. Don't blow your horn when you're coming through town. We have arms and lights at all the locations. They don't blow their horn coming through town. We can do the same thing. Now, y'all have to work hard. We have to work hard on that. That won't be done overnight. But we have to go, I'll follow the lead on that too. But we'll try to get that, because every night I hear 3 or 4, 5, 6 sets of trains coming through back to back. And all you hear is horns blowing all night long. But I'm on my last term, my last meeting. I want to give a report to the citizens that some safety is coming. And y'all find some projects and keep it coming to the council and be strong about it.
Thank you, Mr. Broussard. I personally want to thank you. I've served with you since I was the pro tem. We've been together for quite a few years. The railroad's always been your passion. You've done a wonderful job carrying that mission through. So I want to thank you. And I'm going to open up for comments. Councilman Dahl, you get your hand up first.
Yeah, Mr. Roos, it's 20-plus years that I've been up here, and 20-plus years we've been hearing about it, and your commitment made it. Without your commitment and dedication, it wouldn't have happened. Some people just give up. And when the people in Baton Rouge was not the people that were really that you knew, you still kept going. You aggravated them so much they give it, and it worked. And I wish I could be that way. Maybe I give up too easy, but the lives you saved and the commitment. And look, I was here when we got that bridge on Lewis Street, and because you started fighting for the overpass, it got to the next stage of getting a bridge to let more traffic across. So you started that way back, and everybody said, we'll never get a bridge. We'll never get an overpass. We didn't get an overpass, we got a bridge because of you, your commitment, and I applaud you for it. And I'm proud to say that I served with you through some rough times, but you never varied. I don't care what we talked about, it came back to the bridge, and it paid off. That's something we can all be proud of, and thank you for everything you did for that.
Thank you, Dan.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas.
Yes. So, Mr. Brewster, the years I was on the parish council, I heard about the railroad, and we had to go through some things to work with you. And wow, you never turned your back, and that's to be held up. But I think in theory, if you would Google railroad crosses in your Iberia, I think your name would pop up first on my phone.
Every time.
So I think maybe just maybe in the near future we can do something to commemorate you. Maybe put your name on one of these crossings or something to commemorate you. But I know we could do is maybe we call the railroad and tell them to blow 3 times every time they pass through Iberia in honor of Mr. Broussard, huh? Because look, you just don't know that how many people, not by yourself, but with a commitment of effort, save lives in this parish because of your efforts in close calls. And look, you should wear that chip on your shoulder heavy. and know that you really, really made a difference in your years serving this community, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart.
One thing,
Yes, sir.
people have to understand, $300,000 to $400,000, every location, 9 locations. Do the numbers. $5 to $6 million. Our councils have brought the Iberia parish, not another parish. We brought, that's $5 to $6 million for all of them to have arms and lights. Not another parish, but we got our money here.
Yeah. Plus the money that we
Sure.
shifted to the Armico Canal.
Yeah, I
and
know.
you stopped a bunch of flooding in the
I
West
think
End.
Blanco-
Don't forget that one.
State
That
government,
was the rest of your money.
I'm sorry, but
More than that now.
Oh, yeah. Anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Councilwoman Brooke Markcott.
I've only been here 4 years serving with you, Mr. B, but it did not take me long to figure out that the railroad is your passion, and you've done a great job with it. You really have. All the monies that you've gotten dedicated to these railroad crossings is absolutely amazing. So thank you for your support, and it was an honor to serve with you. And I hope that we can name something after you. We got to with the railroad.
it's just that we saved lives. That's enough
You
for me.
did, and that's amazing. Thank
That's
you so
enough for me.
much.
Yeah, I left something,
Yeah,
make me know that.
very good. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Marcotte.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Councilman Marlon
Mayor,
Lewis.
I can't reiterate what everybody said, so I'll just say ditto what everybody said. But being as though it's Christmas time, Ms. Broussard, I don't know if you got a train set at the house, but if you hadn't got him anything for Christmas, get him a train set, a real nice one, going over an overpass.
Be sure they got arms and lights.
Make sure they got arms and lights.
He'll put him.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Mr. Broussard, thank you again.
Thank
Thank
y'all.
you again. All right, Madam Clerk, 3B.
Dee Dee Johnson-Reed to provide an update on Act 718 of the 2024 legislative session.
Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to say, this is, I'm going to talk a little bit about a problem that we have in the city and that we talked about a lot in the ordinance committee. And the ordinance committee gave me permission to work with our state legislator, Marcus Bryant, to try and figure out how we can change the law at the state level. Because most of the council people know that when we send information into the compliance department about junk cars on properties or junk cars left throughout the city, if the car is over 20 years old, we can't touch it. And so it's considered a collector's item. And so we have junk cars on properties that's really affecting other people's property values because they're just junk sitting there. And a lot of times they're not stored properly. They're in the front yard, they're in the side yard, and it's affecting the neighbor's property. And so what we wanted to do was try and figure out if we could change something at the state level to make sure that goes away. So we actually worked together and we came up with Act 718. And basically what it does is that it allowed us to really amend and repeal several acts that were dealing with blighted automobiles, specifically the ones that are over 20 years old, okay? And basically what it did is gave really us, people who sit on councils, municipalities, and also the parish council, the ability to enact some ordinances that actually will help us to deal with the blighted vehicles that are sitting on people's properties. Laney. So the first thing is that if you're a collector, and I use that term loosely, because a collector could be anybody who just has an old truck sitting in their yard. So it's really a resident who's not doing what they're supposed to do, and the mayor. No, go back, Laney, I'm sorry.
You still buy old cars?
I know, I was just messing with you. And so basically, these are people who actually put those cars, they have car parts or whatever, they maintain them in their yard or on their property, and it looks like a public nuisance, okay? And so what's a public nuisance, okay? So that's any kind of junk vehicle, automobile, any type of part or anything that's actually sitting in the right of way or just sitting where, one, it actually causes us to have a safety issue, and it's dealing with the welfare of the public. So, you know, these cars are sitting there, animals get in them. It also reduces the value of private property. you don't want to be moved, you don't want to be next to a person who has a bunch of junk cars in their yard, because that affects your property value. If you decide to sell your house, I promise you, that's going to affect the ability, how much you can actually sell your house for, because no one wants to be next to a junkyard. It also invites vandalism, it creates a fire hazard, and it also actually is kind of a place where you just really inviting kids to go and vandalize, okay? So what we did was we worked with the state and we came up with some rules. So basically what the rules say now with Act 718 is that if you're going to be a collector, you have to take your car, your old car over 20 years old, you have to put it in the backyard. It has to be stored near your property line. It has to be covered with a tarp, and it has to be 18 inches off the ground. You can have as many as you can back there, but they all need to be like that. And the reason for the 18 inches off the ground is because we want you to be able to maintain your grass. And we all know that grass can't grow higher than 12 inches. So, and you need to put just a tarp on top. If you are someone who has a carport, you can also store that vehicle under your carport with a tarp on top. It can't be at the end of your carport. It has to be underneath the carport that's closest to the house. If you have any car parts, again, they need to be in the backyard, they need to be close to your property line, and they need to be covered with the tarp. And the reason why is because what we are trying to do is prevent people from being able to see this from the street. So if it's in your backyard, it's away from public view, it's away from people who are maybe coming out there looking for a house, it looks neater, and that way you're not affecting everybody else's property values. This law became effective August 1st of 2024, and so now, the reason why I wanted to go over this tonight, because one, is my last night, and also I wanted everybody to realize that we're going to start patrolling, looking for these cars that are not in compliance. If you have a car that is sitting in your front yard and it's not operable, or it's a junk car, it's over 20 years old, you have some time to actually store it properly so that it doesn't get tagged and it doesn't get picked up by the city. This act, I only went through the highlights because we even have a whole lot about how the city can dispose of the car and whether they can do so. That's all included in the law, but I mean, the public doesn't care about that. But what we're trying to do is alert you to the fact that we are now going to address these cars that are over 20 years old, these vehicles. We are no longer going to let them junk up our city. And this is kind of like the second part of everything we've been doing with demolishing houses. Because it's not just the houses that need to be removed, it's also the junk vehicles. So this is all part of the effort to clean up our city, to make it more attractive to investors. And so I hope that the public will understand and they will take heed, and then they will start to put their vehicles, if they want to keep them, in the back. If you don't want to keep the vehicle, it's just sitting there because it broke down and you didn't have a way to get rid of it, there are several junkyards that will pick up these vehicles, give you a little money, for the scrap metal, and get it out of your yard. So I won't be here next year. I don't know when we're going to start doing this, but now you will no longer have cover of my vehicles over 20 years old. Thank you.
Any questions, comments?
Hey, Didi,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem? Ricky Gonsalas?
one question. You mentioned the cost. The cost is gonna be bared by the owner of the vehicle, correct?
That's
Not
correct.
the city and all, and we mentioned it, Freddie, just wanna make that clear that it's not gonna cost the city any money.
No, it's not. It's actually going to cost the person who's just letting it sit there.
Right.
Because,
Which
I
it
mean,
should be.
Yeah, I mean, it'll go on their taxes.
Just like the
if
cars
we
we tag now.
Right.
Exactly.
Same.
It's the
And
same
landowner.
situation.
But I mean,
Yeah, the landowner.
a lot of people are gonna call in and say, go pick up this car and the city's gonna pay the disposal. That's not how it
No,
works.
that's not, no, thank you for that clarification. It doesn't work that way. If we
Correct.
have to pick up your junk car because you're not dealing with it, you will get a bill. And if you don't pay it, it's gonna be on your taxes, so you pay it either way,
Okay, well, thank you, appreciate it.
okay? Any other questions?
Any other questions?
I'm not a
Yes,
junk
sir.
man per se, but last I checked, them junk guys, they ain't giving you nothing for that car in that yard. Your pay is to pull it out your yard, because they ain't making nothing at the scrap yard. So they
Okay.
ain't paying, but if you want to get rid of your car, they'll come get it for free.
Yeah, I used to see signs that say they would give you a little something.
Yeah, be a little something too, like a nickel.
Okay, well, maybe they're not giving money, but this will prevent you from having the city pick it up, and then you have to pay for that. And I don't know what the cost is today, Mr. Mayor, do you know?
Not right. It's a couple $100 for the haul of a car.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so, because we got to get a record, pull that,
Yep. Not something the city does.
exactly.
But no, in all seriously, people will come pick it up for free if
Yeah.
you're having it. Because
Yeah.
you'd be surprised who think they gotta pay somebody
No,
to
they'll
come
come
get
for
their
free.
car out their yard.
Man, they gotta take the gas tank
I
out, they
wanted
gotta
to
take the
make sure
seats
that
out.
was
Pre-on.
put out there as well.
Absolutely. And just so you guys know, I mean, people probably like, well, why are you doing this? Because we get calls about this all the time. People are like, can you get them to get that car out of the yard? Because it's sitting there and it's affecting my property value. I know, me in particular, in the last 4 years, I've gotten several calls about people asking me to deal with these cars. And I've had tons of them tagged. But then when it gets to that car that's over 20 years old, I'm like, there's nothing we can do. But now we can. So this act, and actually this act is going to help all the different municipalities and parishes in the state of Louisiana, because now everybody can adopt this and clean up their particular city or parish. Any other questions?
One more thing?
Yeah, sure.
I wanna commend you for actually getting a state law amended. That's amazing work.
Thank you.
Amazing work, amazing work. And one more thing, junk men, when y'all pick up them cars, take them tires too, because that's where a lot of our tires coming from.
No,
They don't take the tires at the scrap yard,
That's
but they
right.
want the hub, the rim.
Right.
So take y'all tires too, because we got cameras and we see you dumping them tires up. Another issue.
Absolutely. Yeah. We're
I
going
wanna
to come up with
thank
a
you.
fine for that.
I want to thank you for this egregious attack on car collectors. No, I'm picking. As a guy who collects cars, okay, we went back and forth on this quite a lot, okay? Y'all did a great job. I mean, you still can have a car. Look, I went to 30 properties for one block at a time this week, okay? Visited every site that we're doing roofs. We'll visit all 60-something but before we even kick the project off. I found 4 cars, and you bet I'm going back to see if I can buy them, okay? So there are still a lot of people who hold on to collector cars, who hold on to old cars and trucks. What this does would at least give you a remedy. You can put it on jacks, you can cover it, you can keep it on your property, so it doesn't attack them so much. When we first started this, I was like, man, I don't know where this is gonna go. There has to be some way to protect the older cars, and as a guy who has a lot of cars, you know, there are many people who are into that. It is a very big hobby and a very, you know, it's a good thing to do. So this is a balance. It does allow you to keep them. You got to take a few steps, but, you know, if you want your car, you know, look, I already tried to buy 2 of the ones that we saw. Those people aren't letting go. They are not going to sell. And, you know, some people might not understand that. I totally get it. This at least gives them a way. I mean, we do live in America. It gives them a way to keep what they want, to, you know, cherish their car, even if they're never going to fix it, and gives them a way to keep it. So it was a good balance to go, hats off to you and to Marcus Bryant, to go on your own, get over there and change state law is you are to be commended for that. And I think there was a balance. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Anybody else?
I thought we were gonna see your house up there.
Hey, mine are all
Oh,
legal, they're all
before?
inspected, they all go down the road.
No,
Now, I have quite a few that don't, but they're in a building.
Yeah.
actually, I was able to create those images with
I
AI.
saw that. That's
Yeah, it's
AI.
nice.
Yeah.
Really
Only
nice.
AI will put a milk crate and it sticks some rims on the side of it.
Yeah.
funny.
So, but thank you. No, I didn't want to, you know, call the mayor out too much, but
Gotcha,
we did go back and forth a lot about
We
that.
did, it was fun. It actually was
In-house
fun.
IT director.
That's it. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 4A.
Special ordinance number 2024-2025-03, an ordinance amending the budget to replace New Iberia Police Department radios and purchase 2 additional vehicles.
I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilman Martin Lewis and a second by Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there anyone in the public to address this issue? I think the chief wants to, but we'll wait till the main motion. Yeah, what's that? Yeah, it's just the budget. No one to address? Then I'll need a motion to close public hearing.
Moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Thank you. Now we'll go to the main motion, and I'll need a motion.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? We address it again, right?
Yeah.
Further down,
5A.
so 5B.
Or not B, whatever it is.
Yeah, okay, we'll just wait till 5B. Seeing no, yes, ma'am.
So just one question, and when I was looking at the general fund, it looks like the money is coming out of the same one, the 100,000 at the bottom, but it doesn't say which object code. I don't know if that was left off by mistake or what.
Okay,
She doesn't have to come up.
yeah,
I
well,
know.
It is, the object code is 595-310.
Okay,
595-510.
the 595-510, okay, cool.
The object code.
Okay, cool. All right, it just wasn't showing.
yes. Okay, yeah.
Because it has a project code.
Yeah. Any other questions, comments? Then I'd ask you please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 5B.
Special ordinance number 2024-2025-04, an ordinance amending the budget to carry over funds for the Acadiana Crime Lab.
This is gonna pay our debt for the crime lab. I need a motion to open our public hearing.
Second.
Councilman Dan Doyle, Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any public comment on this item?
Last payment?
Yes, ma'am, it will be. That way we'll have it completely paid off, which is awesome. No public comment. Motion to close, please.
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte, and now I need a main motion.
Motion.
Councilman Marlon Lewis, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this main motion or questions?
And again, just to remind the public, this was our portion, our contribution to the new crime lab.
Over $400,000, we got on the Bo Dewey layaway plan, and he let us, and so we are paying it off. We waited till new budget, as he knew we were gonna do, and so this will make our final payment and get us fully vested. Construction has started. Many communities have contributed to this. This is something that our DA Bo Dewey pushed for and really worked for. So just happy to see that it's under construction and that we're paid off.
And Mayor, 8 parishes, if I'm.
Yes.
If the, yeah,
Yes,
8
quite a few
parishes
parishes.
use this state-of-the-art crime lab.
Yes,
Gonna be state-of-the-art.
it is,
Yeah.
yes.
One more thing.
Sure,
Just want to remind the public that we paid based on our usage.
yes.
So we got to get this crime under control so that our usage goes down, so we don't have to pay these big hefty bills in the future.
Yeah,
Because
our-
that was,
Our pay does reflect our clients.
yes, we have way too much usage for this thing.
Yes. Anybody else? Then I'd ask you, please vote your machines.
Oh, no,
What you need?
the wrong button.
Okay, hang on, let's clear it and revote. Okay, please vote your machines.
Thank you.
You going against the district attorney.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I was like, okay,
My finger both
everybody
buttons.
got a button.
Hey, everybody makes mistakes.
No, it was funny. 4C, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance number 2024-33, an ordinance awarding contract to Ultimate Technologies for the Crime Camera Infrastructure Project Phase 2 and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion to open this public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Anyone from the public to comment on this item? Hearing, seeing no one, I need a motion to close.
So moved.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilman Marlon Lewis. Now I need a main motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte and Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Is there any discussion from the council? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so, I know we kind of talked about this last week, but since this is my last meeting, I want to reiterate what I said before. It is extremely important that when we sign a contract with a company, that we look at the support after the sale. It is very easy during the sales process. Everything's great during the sales process. This is after the sale where the problem comes in. So we have to make sure our contracts have the right type of support, that they're going to meet our needs based on what we need for our community. So as you guys look at these contracts in the future, make sure you pay attention to the support after the sale, because that's actually what's more important than the actual sale itself. Because if based on what we heard last week, we absolutely need to make sure that we are paying attention to the support, because we're not getting what we deserve.
no, that's right, crime.
Yeah, we
Okay.
good, we good.
That's right.
Anybody else? I do.
We missed it.
No, no, sir. I do have the chief here, and at some point, I think he wants to weigh in on a couple of these items, so I don't know if,
It's a good time.
does anybody object to, since we're on cameras, I'm trying to keep it a little bit in the right order. Chief?
Right, well, the support is in this part of what Captain Lasser was here last week and kind of maybe talked about there was not issues with the company. There was things that as we built the infrastructure of what we're doing, it's a process. And, as of today, we're 84% progress through the 125 camera sites that we have set to go up. Their support is there. They were here this morning, in fact. And we'll just kind of bounce a little bit because I know that one of the topics has been what happened at the parade on Saturday and whether the cameras were working and what happens if the internet gives some issues, whatever that is. Well, that issue happened, but there's a reason why we went the route with Motorola because Motorola is a company that has a backup plan which I like and which is beneficial to our department and law enforcement in general. I've sent, Laney has an email from me. Our Captain Lassiter and his team with Lieutenant Kellen Landry worked today with Active Solutions, and the suspects from that is what you're seeing on the screen.
Okay.
That's one of the suspects, and there's some more pictures with that. So do the cameras work? There you see our cameras right there. There's our crime cameras. So, and the internet on the cameras were down, but it's still recording. It doesn't, the footage is good for 30 days without internet connection. It does it on the base mount itself. The camera itself has a backup recording system within it. So we didn't lose anything. We always knew we had it. I know that the Facebook court was in session.
As always.
I don't respond to Facebook.
No.
Because we have a job to do. Part of our job is to get communication with our vendor, which you said it well. We got to make sure it's contracts. It is. And we made a phone call. They were here first thing this morning. So from Saturday night, Sunday morning, when all this became a fruition, the very next day, within 24 hours, they were on our lot this morning, and they went to those sites, pulled the camera footage, got with our detectives, and we were pulling that footage. So it works. Not every second I'm going to comment, or we should ever comment on the Facebook court to try to explain what we do. We do have a backup plan to everything we do. And part of that is to make sure, as your chief of police, is to make sure that I'm providing the service of protection when we invest in a system like this that costs the city a whole lot of money. I get it, but we got to invest in what the technology will take us and have a backup to that technology. One other thing that Active Solutions and Motorola itself came in and did, and it was a question you asked during the contract process. What happens if greater technology comes out? Well, one of the things that Captain Lassiter mentioned without kind of filling the rest of it in is in the midst of the purchase we made for the cameras we got, a new technology came out with a cloud-based camera that had the capability of a 30-day recording and all that. Well, Motorola company itself came into that authorized partner, which was Active, and they swapped out those cameras for these new cameras, these new cloud-based cameras that work through the AVA system.
Many that were installed.
And there was some that was installed. So they had to go in, and that was, you call it a hiccup. I don't call it a hiccup. I call it upgrade. So
It's
we
an upgrade.
upgraded our equipment before we actually got into 20% of where we were. So we basically halted the 20% progress we were going into. Why it took so long, right, is we were upgrading our technology before we even knew we needed an upgrade. So Motorola has held up its end on making sure that their partners are able to do those swaps, because that swap didn't cost us any money. Because they made the technological upgrade for us, because it gave us better apt, because that also goes into our real-time crime center. And that cloud camera, it did a lot of things. One, we didn't need any longer to go with Fusus, because this new technology that Motorola has on these new cameras that we have goes straight into what they call their AVA system, Well, that eliminated, if you remember, we did an order for the $100,000 to pay fuses.
Right.
Now we're not gonna use fuses anymore. So that $100,000 a year is not something the city's gonna spend. So that's what Motorola has done for us as a partner with us,
Okay.
you know, for what we're doing. So they did upgrade us. So kind of want to answer an old question from way back in the contract process of, because you asked a question back then of
Yeah.
what happens if a camera technology goes up, what are we doing? They've upgraded us before we actually got this progress fully done. So there is a lot that goes into this. I know we talked about, I know last meeting the radios came up, Kenwood versus Motorola. Well, Kenwood, and I've talked to that rep that sent you all a letter, he understands because our technology has taken us towards Smart Connect. Well, that's proprietary to Motorola. Kenwood doesn't do that technology. Basically, if we get into a place where tower has an issue or whatever, actually our radios can key up through Wi-Fi. So there is some differences between, Kenwood's a great product. I got no issues with Kenwood. But there is reasons why we make the decisions we do and why we built the infrastructure we did. That tower sitting on the side of our building right here is a full Elwyn site. Basically, Baton Rouge now took that over and they support that tower on the state's expense and not the city's expense. Our repeaters are inside that building that sits in front of that tower. It's about $750,000 in repeater equipment that operates a 700 megahertz Motorola system that also Kenwood ties into too. They can communicate on it too, because it's a P25 system. But it's all built in because when we go from an Elwyn site where you can talk directly to Baton Rouge, inside of our comm center, our communications center, we have Elwyn's consoles that all tie in. It's all a direct feed, and we have three consoles and basically 3 dispatch stations within our comm center that all work through the system. And all these things interact all together without having to do interfaces, because I'm not an interface guy. When you start putting a connection to a connection, I'm not that guy, because I think that it works seamless when you're dealing with a straight shoot.
Right.
A point A to point B, without having point A to point C with a point B interface. So the decisions that I made and consulting with the mayor at the time, that there was some reasons why we did those things, and we went with that infrastructure. And then with the radio technology going into a Smart Connect, because look, we all know this, and just like the upgrade of the cameras happened, you know, the upgrade of these radio systems go up too. I mean, I could be in basically another country and key up my radio and here in New Iberia, you know, through a Wi-Fi setup. I don't
Right.
need a tower. So there's just a lot of technology. Now, is that going to be realistic? I'll be in another country and need a radio? No. But the technology of being inside of a building or something, or being somewhere where that tower space, where there's interference comes in or whatever, it's nice to have that, because what we also need to know is that all of our cars are hotspots. You know, because we have a rocket device inside of the car that makes the car Wi-Fi. We can connect five devices to it. And right now, we only have 3, being a laptop, the dash cam, and the body cam. I know.
You need the water?
Excuse me, please.
I don't know what's happening, man. I got your back, bro.
Yeah. But it allows for all that technology to grow with us, because, you know, we've had the support, and I'm not toting that Motorola's a save-all, be-all, but their technology has allowed us to grow to the space where we are. We have a great partnership with them. And when we do, it's not just they're going to send us one price, it's going to be this overwhelming stuff. If you looked at the last bids with Ultimate Technologies owner, because I do my research on the owners of these companies, Brennan Donovan, that owns Ultimate Technologies, was actually an engineer with Motorola at one time before he started his own company.
Okay.
And kind of branched out. So this guy is not only, he's not a sales guy per se, he was actually known, he was a product guy. He knew the inner workings of those systems. So he's going to be a great partner with us on this next venture into the, we call it the Jeff Landry money. You know, it's that he now knows the inner workings, and actually he's done some work for the city already on some cameras that are on our fire buildings. So, you know, we always look into how these people work and how all this, the support we get and the type of technology that it's going to. We always want to be in our department, and, you know, the mayor knows this, that, you know, we bought equipment that is absolutely state-of-the-art. When you have Lafayette PD SWAT team calling for us to go and bring our brand-new Bearcat over because it's very feasible to have them, that extra, what we got, you know, New Iberia is on the map of being, you know, we have technology and equipment that, bar none, I'd put up against anybody. You know, this city council, and I commend you, and the past city council that has supported us through the years, we've built a great infrastructure. Our infrastructure is good. In fact, Lynn, if you want to show the map of the cameras at this point, I can show you where we're at on currently where the cameras are set up.
We just got it. We just got this, so we'll have something to add that the chief and I are
Yes.
working on of the Jeff Landry cameras.
Now, there is some spots in the city that have underground electricity and those types of things that we're working on building a plan for how do we put, you know, cameras, crime cameras in those spaces. So there is kind of some empty voids in there that you're gonna see that we're gonna work on those voids when we have it. But our town is represented when it comes to making sure that we can have what you've seen with our city clerk pulled up on the screen of being able to identify suspects that do crimes in our city. And it could be something as simple as vandalism all the way to, you know, to a major crime. So we're prepared as a department. I know that Mr. Davis, you know, talked about the crime issues, is that we're taking each step. There's some other things that we're doing as a department. I've had meetings with the district attorney's office to deal with actual crime stuff that is concerning, and how do we deal with being able to send the ones that continue to commit these crimes away and get them off our streets so they can't repeat. Because what we're seeing, and the mayor's in those briefings and our staff meetings, that it's a rinse and repeat with a lot of these bad actors, right? That it's some of the same names you see over and over, either, you know, get involved in something bad or being the one doing it again. And, you know, it's just, it's something that we've actually, and I have good news on that, the mayor's aware of it, and we'll talk about it at some point. But the DA's office has agreed to hold a zero tolerance and be able to send some of these people away. And I'm very pleased at where that meeting went, and very optimistic of what it's going to do for our city on reducing crime. So there are some things coming. We didn't just sit on our hands and wait for representatives to come up and you know, because I know the concerns. I have the same concerns. You know, it's to make sure that we're working every day to try to find new solutions to the problems we have. What we can't do is sit back and say, well, it's happening everywhere else. We have to address our problems here in New Iberia, thankfully. We have to address our problems here in New Iberia, and so we're always trying to stay one step ahead of that. These cameras are going to be vital, or are already seeing that it's vital to what we're doing. And it's important that, you know as a council that what you've invested in has a backup plan, that if something goes out, that it's still working. You know, that it's not just, oh, it's up and is it working, is it not working? I know the blue lights get talked about. Don't concern yourself with the blue lights. That's just a light.
Yep.
Has nothing to do with the camera functions.
That's right.
Zero to do with it. So they are working, and it has solved a lot of crime for us. So we're very optimistic. I think at some point, I know the mayor talked about it, to get you in and take a look at what we have in our crime center and what these cameras do for us today. It does a lot. I welcome you to come in, and whether you want to come one by one and just make a phone call and get with the mayor, and we'll open the door to you and have you come see how this works, because we've done it with the district attorney's office, and the eyes get open to what this technology can do. I mean, you look at the haystack of one of the vandalisms happened in the back of the parking lot of Bolognese Plaza. But we identified, and then we tracked them. And like I said, our investigators, Captain Laston and his team, they do a fantastic job of if they got you in a spot, they're gonna find you, you know, and do a great job with. And this technology helps us. So I didn't want anybody to be, you know, in the dark of what is this, and is this a whim? You know, because you ask very good questions, and I would hope that you trust me enough to know that we're doing our research. And if you don't, then I want to explain it to you. I want to at least give you the information that you need to know that we're not, that you're not in the dark of what's going on, because these are things that we vetted out when we did this process. And there's reasons why we go with certain technologies, because it leads us to a different area, a different level of what we can and can't do. So it wasn't to disrespect the Kenwood people, and I'm sure he's watching because I asked him to watch. And that it's nothing to do with their product. They're a competitor of what we use, but there's a reason why this technology is the way we went. And so they understand, and they understand why we went, that technology is proprietary. They understand it. So we made those decisions very early on. And then when we needed the upgrade, you know, we don't just do, and I think y'all know this now, I don't just do this and say, well, what are we gonna do next year? We do 7-year maintenance contracts with people. With the Motorola radios that y'all just talked about and approved, that we have a 7-year full maintenance. It's kind of like, to understand what the warranty we have, it's not just a warranty from the manufacturer, which is Motorola, but it's like going to Best Buy and buying a washer and dryer, and you get the manufacturer warranty, right, from, say, GE or one of the companies. Well, but this then you can overlay it with a Geek Squad warranty, right, where they come to your house and take care of any issues you have and deal with it for the, you know, whereas if they got to get it back to the manufacturer, they do it for you. Well, we basically, with these radios, we have the Geek Squad warranty with LRC, which is the company that's selling it, for 7 years. So, you know, not just we don't just have the warranty on the radio, that's already warranted, but we actually have the, and I'll call LRC the Geek Squad warranty. We have the 7-year where if something goes wrong, they come pick it up, bring it. If it's something that's just a glitch of the radio, they look it over. If it's not, they swap them out. So this is an over-the-counter thing. So we made sure we cover those bases with as a department, that we're getting what we pay for. You know, I've learned you don't cut side deals and with you know, somebody that's just a salesperson. Salespeople will tell you what you want to hear.
Exactly.
The salesmen know I don't deal with sales well. Him and I have been through a lot of stuff together. He knows how I negotiate. I negotiate past the salesman. I want to know your company guy. I want to know because I know the president I know the owner of Active Solutions. I know the owner of Ultimate Technologies. I actually, you know, with the Motorola side of it, and then we're talking about this technology, I can go high up in the Motorola organization and get some answers and direct phone calls. So I don't make deals with anybody without knowing where I can get to somebody, and am I getting support for support? I want to know that the company's going to stand behind their product.
Excellent.
So hopefully that answers the questions y'all have, but I open the door to it.
Any questions?
I do have another
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
Stole
So
your water, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
you said we have
But,
84% of the cameras installed already, correct?
I'm sorry, 84%.
84%.
Yeah.
So have you guys picked locations for, because I know we have a new batch, right?
Right.
So did you pick locations for all of those? Are you still doing it based on crime data, or can we suggest places that we know that there's some hot spots?
We've had suggestions from the community already. I've taken phone calls from District 5, actually.
Yeah.
From residents there. And we know we just recently had an incident, and
Yeah.
that's actually a spot, we have putting a camera there.
Okay,
You know, now, one thing we had to wait on, because Ms. Bobette fusses at me quite often, I gotta get this done first before I can do a PO and start the process.
okay,
Because I don't want the auditors fussing at her to fuss at me. So I had to get through this process first before we can start lining that out.
okay.
And
so-
council people have been, you know, giving me camera locations, and I've been jotting them down.
Yeah,
so-
absolutely. I know I've given you a
Yeah.
couple. I just,
But this is
Everybody's
why we
giving you
have,
something.
Captain Last did a good job of tacking every spot that we have going up. So the mayor and I will look at that map and take a look at where we are, all the requests we've had. I would suggest that if you have some concerns, talk to the mayor about it. He's with us every step. And then we look at those locations, we look at the crime stats, and we look at where's the most viable spots. Now, like I said, again, it could not just be for a violent crime, it's any crime. And that's
Right.
why we have 3 locations in Bowling A Plaza that we have cameras. You know, we got Fisher, we got right there by the bricks, and then we got one on the corner by Iberia and Maine.
I mean, we get 30,000 people there, you know.
Yeah.
Right.
Because we want to make sure, then we got another one by the Slyman. If you look at
Right.
across the street from Slyman, in front of
Yeah.
Daily Iberian, you got another one right there. So we got spots where we catch, and actually the camera by the Slyman was integral in this. So that and what's good about, like I said, the technology we have is that we can go from one to another and ask for this. You talked about AI, we do
Right.
use the technology.
excellent. Okay,
This system does full AI.
excellent.
Anything else?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So Chief, in regards to the radios, and obviously you're addressing the Kenwood because my questions that I've asked in the meeting. So would you agree that Sergeant Nash did not do near the job you did explaining of what we were buying?
Well,
You know,
I could.
because you just went in a lot of detail that answered a lot of questions.
Well, but when you rise to questions, and I always said this, that my phone line's always open for questions that come up about things that us as a department, because at the end of the day,
Mine too.
I'm the guy.
Right.
You know, so when you're asking a question of, I had my captain step in that's not involved in all the process of all this, of what I do on my side of it along with the mayor. So he answered the question as best he could off of what he had, his knowledge of it. But there's a lot of things that I do behind the scenes that a lot of my people don't see, because part of that vetting process and those things we do on a different level. I think we all know that. So that question should have been posed towards me, because I'm the guy.
Right.
You know, if you want to answer a question answered about the PD and what type of equipment and things we do, that's why you guys hired me.
And you
Well,
know you can
past
call me
council,
anytime
but,
you want.
you know,
get it
I'm
in.
the guy, and my
can't
phone,
put-
and
we
I
can't put
think,
Captain
So no-
on the spot.
but I mean, times that you've called me, I answer my phone.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Answer my phone.
So just on another note, so yeah, and I agree. Because, you know, when you look at the agenda item and you go through it and you got some questions, whoever comes to me and you can address the question, but obviously they weren't addressed, right? And so, but as an elected official, you're doing your due diligence, you know, I want to do the best job I can in asking a question to make sure that the people that are aware of it can understand what we're purchasing.
Well, I'm gonna say this, and I'm not trying to be argumentative with you, but.
I'm not neither.
But the behind the scenes stuff, if there was questions to come up, because when I spoke with the mayor before that meeting took place, I had another obligation that came up
That's
cause I planned on coming to the meeting, the last meeting. But when we talked, I didn't see any questions about, it was just to move the money for the purchase of. And I didn't know that if there was questions, I thought it would have came up during the course of. So it was a matter of just him being here for the meeting, because we always provide security for the council. Him being here, that if something very simple came up, that you know, I would be able to get that information back, or he'd be able to answer it. So the expectation always from me is that if there's ever, you know, because that question didn't come to you from that meeting, it happened before that, call me. That's what I'm here for, because I can respond to that, because I know the salesman. I know him well. He's done work here. I got a Kenwood repeater on our tower right now that works as a backup frequency for us.
He does our fire department.
Yeah.
All you can do
So
is ask.
he has a Kenwood repeater on our tower. We operate that as a backup frequency. So
Right.
I've dealt with him before. He could have called me.
Right.
I mean, my personal opinion is that was stuff that could have been ironed out before, because it was just to move the money to make the purchase. If there was a question about why the two technologies are different and what Kenwood and what Motorola does, that's a phone call to me, and I'd be happy to sit. And like I said, I still offer all of you to come in and take a look at our real-time crime center and look at our equipment.
Right.
Open the door to it.
You know, the question wasn't really about the two radios, about, you know, the money we were spending and didn't see. I mean, if you look through the agenda tonight, there's multiple items that have bids and adjusting bids. You just see one number and see nobody competing. So that was the question. So, you know, why weren't you looking at other ones? But you explained to them why you wanted the technology and why you addressed it. So that was the question, you know, and in my defense, you know, to say that it was backyard politics, it was just really not a valid statement, because it's not. Because in my defense, I'm asking the questions, then I represent the people. People selected me there, and I'm representing them and trying to see, you know, what's going on. And you answered it tonight, and I'm going to support it. I was planning on supporting. So, you know, with the Wi-Fi technology that wasn't mentioned last meeting, now it is. That makes a big difference. So,
But
you know.
I've never mentioned backyard politics. But,
Okay.
But that's a word that you've used. And
No, man, it's fine. But I'm just saying, it's not. It's doing my due diligence and asking the question. And I'm gonna continue to do it and continue to ask the question, because that's my job. And you know, I think now that you explained it thoroughly tonight, I think it's valid, and we never jeopardize public safety, because we need every tool and tool chest we can get, and it's to your advantage of your officers. And so now that we know where it's going and how we're doing it, and it's an improving department, I fully support it.
Yes, sir. Mr. Broussard. Councilman Broussard, you had your hand up.
And I commend you also, because anytime you save one life,
Yep.
you leave from this earth being able to say that you saved a life. Fantastic.
I'm glad to hear you don't follow Facebook, Mr. Chief. 20 years ago,
I get sent a
I'm not
bunch
gonna
of
name a
stuff and
politician.
screenshots.
Yeah, we see
I'm
it.
not gonna name a politician, but he was a sheriff. And we made a pact together. They had him dead. on Facebook, dying. You don't believe, I never did and I never will. I'm old enough to die without getting on Facebook. They use my wife, you know, to get through me through a lot, you know. So I'm giving everybody in here, it keeps me from going face to face on Facebook with some kuyo on the other end that doesn't know the whole story. I'm sure glad you put that on camera. I hope you catch them, boys, and we have to do something with the young ones. We have to do a lot with the young ones and catch them ahead of time and hold them accountable. Put them picking up trash. Do something, we'd have to put them in jail, but we know where you are. You report to us on Saturday, and you hours for the next 6 weeks. You know, but I'm sure glad to know I'm not the only one that doesn't follow Facebook, and don't follow it. Do your work.
I get enough screenshots, so it's good.
You have somebody watching your Facebook, the mayor does too. But don't get one for yourself where you have to point blank talk back to somebody. You know, and that's my point. I'm so glad to hear that, and I wish you the best of luck, Mr. Chief.
Thank you, Mr. B.
Thank you for giving a good report.
Thank you, sir. Councilman Marlon Lewis.
Since we're in the spirit of commending our leaders in the city, I want to commend you on a good job that you've done throughout the years that you've been here as chief. 2018, very good job. And I know we're going to talk about crime later on. Councilwoman Johnson has that on the agenda later on. But in 2018, you know, we ran for this city. We ran for this. We were already elected, Dan, in 2016, but we ran for this city to get a police department. And I was always taught to always leave somewhere better than you found it. And with this department and your leadership, and man, Lassiter, amazing. I just got to say that. I'm sorry. When you're captain now, right?
Yes.
I had your
Yes.
number in my phone as lieutenant for the longest. I told him, I said, I'm sorry. I dialed his number in front of him and said lieutenant. I said, I'm sorry, you're captain now. But he wasn't even going there. Your team has been great. Man, look, crime is going to always be with us. It's like the mosaic tile on the floor, black and white. One represent evil, one represent good. It's going to be with us. But the biggest thing, and again, you're going to have it on the agenda later, is crime. Like those kids vandalizing, that's crime. And I've always tried to separate crime from gun violence. I can live with them vandals. But when somebody's child was murdered and somebody else's child, who's a child, had access to a gun to murder that child, that's what I like that, you know, y'all guys have been very interactive. I tell people it's prevention is our cameras. Intervention, that's all of these things we do, town halls that myself and Councilwoman Ledbetter and Councilwoman Reed and the mayor, we all put together going in the community to intervene on some of this violence. And then there's detention, the ultimate. If you don't catch our prevention, if you don't catch our intervention, you're going to get some detention. And hopefully the detention catches your attention. You know, and then you don't have to call me and say, hey, could you call the DA and see if I can get a bond for my child? Because that's the kind of calls we get. And, you know, I go through the process, and I let them talk about it and think about it. What are you asking me? You're asking me to get help, get a bond for your child who killed somebody else's child. I let them hear themselves. But that's for the crime part. You guys have done an awesome job. And I was glad to see the representation of cameras in District 2 and District 5, like Mr. Davis pointed out. You know, hopefully those cameras are going to make a big impact. I know they've made an impact. You know, those cameras are basically what I heard either the mayor or yourself say that a police department, people say, what y'all going to do about the crime? What I've noticed over the years is that a police department, law enforcement, and it's sad, but y'all mostly reactive. Y'all come after the fact. People say, why y'all come? Because we don't know. We don't know that somebody gonna shoot somebody. And so you guys have been a good asset to a good part of the city, you know, and your reactions to what's been happening in our community. And it's sad that that's all we can do in some cases is react. But you guys have done a great job reacting. In this council, man, the cameras, we fought over the cameras. We fought over the cameras. I wanted the cameras.
It's okay.
I wanted them. I was on the side of the cameras. I was on the side of the contract with Clico, 100%, because I know at the end of the day, right, sometimes you got to look right now. We had a right now problem with a right now solution, and I'm glad that we went that route. And all the contractual stuff, I leave that up to you guys. Y'all guys did a great job, and keep doing the good work. Just answer my phone call when I'm off the couch. This is gonna be about business.
You know,
But I still do have a business.
and I appreciate that, and part of also the next step that you guys have me here for, and the other side of it is that, you know, part of the meeting, and the mayor's aware that I had with the district attorney's office to find ways that we can deal with crime and start to do some things on a conviction side, on a detention side, when it needs to be. When those individuals don't need to be on our streets committing the violent crimes that they're doing, then, and we've come to a good consensus. We'll talk about it later when the crime stuff comes in, but we have a plan, and I'm very pleased at how the meeting went with the DA's office, and that's what we're here for. And then talking about on a preventive side, we are gearing up for Santa Claus again, as we've done for the past 6 years. December 23rd is the date, and they will see Santa Claus rolling through town and giving out some gifts.
Excellent.
So we have some families, and that's going to happen. So that's put on by members of our department, and they do it because they do it on their own time to come out and share the cheer and the joy that they see the kids that get gifts that maybe are less fortunate. So we didn't forget about the preventive side either, that we want to interact and have that relationship. So, but I appreciate it.
Man, one more thing.
Sure.
And we're a lot of lack. That's why I stopped dealing with Cash App, because when they tried to take my money, I couldn't talk to nobody. I need to talk to somebody.
Really?
Like you said, you be able to go up the ladder to Motorola. We're a lot of lack. I want to be able to talk to somebody to solve my problems.
I'll answer your call.
All right.
Just make sure he's not,
You know, you read me well.
make sure he's not letting you talk to AI.
Councilman Dahl?
I'm glad you mentioned about the blue light, because most people think the cameras are off when the light's off. And most people think the cameras don't come on unless they have a situation. Those two things are so far from the truth. I'm glad you mentioned it, because I think the public needs to know these cameras, they don't sleep like us. They don't come on, they don't have a timer.
Well, they always on.
They always
that's
on.
What, yeah, they always on.
That one
Just
comment.
leave it at that.
Because many people told me about the blue lights, and myself, I passed. I was like, oh, there's no light on. But you know, but I'm glad you said that, because a lot of people was unaware of what these cameras are doing, and something as simple as that. I have more calls that night than I called the mayor.
Yeah, well, me too.
And, you know, if it'd be my car, I'd be upset too.
Yeah.
But it did what it did, and it's just amazing how clear it is. I've seen other pictures you showed me, they're just so clear.
And you figure that was after 7 o'clock at night that you see those pictures. So it's great pictures.
It is. Thank you for that. And I think the investment is, you can't even put a price on this, because at the end of the day, I think is gonna make a big difference. And until they know that the DA's thing, just no matter what the crime is, if the DA's office, we can't do nothing with the victim out, we done. So I heard what you said. That's big. That's more big than arresting them. Before you can arrest them, you couldn't do nothing with them. And that's going to be a big thing, because when it gets out, if somebody does something and get away with it, they're like, do it. They're not going to do anything to you. But now, I think that's a big thing in this town right now.
You're going to see a difference. It's coming.
It is. I really believe that. Thank you so much for you and the people that work for the police force. They are just so nice and so, you know, unappreciated, and but they do a great job. Thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for coming to explain everything to us. I thought Captain Lassiter did a great job last time. I mean, I understood him, and I just feel like you guys don't ask for stuff that y'all don't really need, you know, so if y'all want to go with that brand, I figured there was a reason for it. So, because I got the email too, and I was like, well, I mean, they're not just going to choose this thing because it's more expensive, you know, there's a reason for everything. But I appreciate both of you coming out and explaining that to us. Thank you.
Anybody else? Captain Lassiter, you did a good job. Chief, thank you. And you're going to stick around for the crime item later?
Yes.
Okay, is there any other comments or questions? We already had motions, we good with everything? It's been a long time ago. Everybody's cool? Okay, well then, go ahead and vote your machines. I don't want to miss a step. Thank you very much. Now we're moving on to 4G.
D.
Or D.
For D.
Oh, 4D, I'm sorry.
Then we're still in 4?
No G.
Yeah.
Ordinance number 2024-34,
Long night.
an ordinance awarding contract to Motorola Solutions for equipment and communication services for the New Iberia Police Department and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
So move.
Second. Oh, motion?
I need a motion to open a public hearing.
So move.
He motion, I second.
Councilman Dan Dahl and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there anyone here to comment on this item? Seeing no one, I need a motion to close it.
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas and Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Now we move, I need a main motion.
So move.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this main motion? Kind of already had.
Discuss it to death.
No, we did. I just like to let people realize, you know, that's what we were
I think we
talking
did
about.
2 and 1.
Yeah. Okay, well then if there's no discussion.
Oh, I do have one question.
Oh, yes, ma'am. We have a
Chief, did
question.
we buy the
Councilwoman DeeDee
accidental-
Johnson-Reed.
Did we buy the accidental damage? You said that you have in the contract, I was just reading the contract and it said something about it was extra. Did we buy that so that we could make sure that they're, like you said, coming all the time? I'm assuming that's what you bought.
Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, I just wanted to double check. Okay. That was the only question I had.
That's it? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Now we go to 5A.
Resolution number 24-158, a resolution accepting the resignation of Warren White as a member of the Parks and Recreation Commission effective December 31st, 2024.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is he here to resign? No, I'm picking. He here to get appointed? Can't resign. Okay, he can't resign. I'm sorry. Is there any discussion? And this is because he's elected, okay? Great civic guy. It's just now he's gonna be on the council.
So
yes,
does
ma'am.
that mean we're looking for someone?
That'll come
fill
up
his-
next. In other words, we'll get this done, get him appointed as the councilman, and then we'll be coming back to ask for someone to serve, yes.
Okay,
Definitely.
so can we just have people think about that
Oh, yeah,
tonight?
sure.
I mean, since everybody knows that Warren's gonna be leaving the Park and Rec Board, if you're interested, please make sure you let the mayor know.
Yes,
Contact the
definitely,
mayor's
definitely.
office.
Anybody else? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. All right, he's kicked off. 5B.
Resolution number 24-159, a resolution awarding contract to Robert Kistner Incorporated for concrete testing for the fiscal year 2024 City of New Iberia concrete repair project and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Second.
Who made the motion?
Dan.
Oh, okay, I didn't know. Councilman Dan Dahl and Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. This is our road program, Facebook court. They keep saying we're not starting. We are starting. Yes, sir.
So this contract basically is the assistant to us that's going to do the initial investigative work, testing, and then when construction kicks off, they'll be there to do all the inspection and testing, with us on the material side. We sent out RFPs. There's only 4 companies in our area, and only 2 of them have been returning because the other ones are just so busy. They're not returning bids. So they were the low bidder on this particular project for the 25 streets and the concrete project. So this is basically to pay them a lump sum fee to do the investigative work ahead of time, and then their unit rate services will be for construction testing services. But it's all within the budget we've set.
Yep.
Well within, but we have to put some numbers to get a good estimate for pricing. So, but we're within the allotment that we've budgeted for.
Yes, sir.
So far.
Councilman Dan Dahl, you had a question?
So you said the pre-construction is when they have to go,
They're gonna go core, they're gonna do a core in every road, check the existing thickness of the concrete, pull a base sample so we can kind of get a good feel for what the base material is. We're just basically trying to do some pre-investigative work, that way we can have a better understanding of what we're gonna get into during construction to try to save us from, it's just basically to try to keep things going, look
It's gonna flow a lot faster. if we do
faster,
this.
and if we hit some bad areas, we know in advance. On the last project, we hit some bad areas,
Right.
and we had to come back for change orders. It just helps us plan better.
So that total cost is for the total project at 140?
The
I just
total
saw the
cost-
difference in the pre-construction, how much difference it was
So-
versus the
So,
whole.
yeah, that pre-construction is 5250, and that's basically for them to go do the pre-cores and give us a report.
One-time thing?
That's a one-time thing, lump sum fee, and then the 135 is basically an estimate of the time and material services
For the whole project?
for the whole construction project.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, all of a sudden I started choking.
Okay.
So John, is the list of roads that we're going to touch this time, that we went back and forth on, is that final? I mean,
Yes, y'all approved that in October or November?
November,
Yeah.
I think.
November.
Beginning of November.
Yeah.
So it's okay to publish that to the community?
Correct. That's
Okay,
the
good.
official list, unless something changes in the bid and unless for some reason we got high bids back and we got a budget crunch, we may have to kick some roads off on the last project, but your asphalt reconstruction and your concrete, I'm gonna say those are just gonna stay like they are, because, that's only half the money. The other half the money is the patch and overlay, which will be the last project, but we'll have the first two bids in before we bid that last one.
Okay,
So current schedule is the asphalt reconstruction, we've already awarded this to another company, so they've actually done their investigative work. I'm waiting on the report to come in. I should get that this week. We should finish engineering next month, and we should go out for bid in February.
right,
With the concrete, we're looking to go out for bid in March, and then the patch and overlay, which is the biggest of the projects, will be probably May, June.
okay,
But we'll have, by the time we go out for bid on that one, we'll have pricing in for these, so we'll really know where the money is at.
Okay.
To make sure we don't have any budgetary issues.
Yep.
okay.
So, everything looks like it's gonna go okay. It's just,
one step at
the
a
market's
time.
kinda calm, all prices are pretty stable right now, so that's a huge driver as far as construction cost goes.
Right.
So, that's kind of the schedule we're working with.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, comments?
Just a comment.
Yes, sir.
I just want to reiterate to the public, this council getting them some new roads, because I'm leaving, I gotta let them know.
I think they know.
I don't know if they know. I've been
told
around this
everybody.
all my life with my family, and they don't know. I celebrated some of the stuff that my Aunt Peggy and them did, and she celebrated some things that her dad did, and, even Mr. Wilson did. So, we're putting in work. I play sports, and I believe in little small victories. Sometimes you lose the game, but you go home and say, I got 20 points, 10 rebounds, I did my job, kept my man from going,
That's it.
And this is the second road program.
Yeah, and in a nice way, Dee kind of said it in a very nice way.
Thank you.
But no, we did good work. We did good work. Because that was a dedicated tax that we had to,
Yeah, we paid off a tax.
Paid off a
and
tax.
we brought back the same millage, and
that was
had to
real
go,
work. That
and
wasn't
we had to go after it twice.
Right,
Right.
And I remember it was some work.
yeah,
Because people don't know what we do.
I understand.
They just know when that road gets paved.
Right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Ready to put my desk back on the sidewalk. Anybody else?
to do that again.
Oh, for something else. Everybody good?
Yep.
Then please vote your machines. Thank you. Madam Clerk, 5C.
Resolution number 24-160, a resolution awarding contract to Louisiana Testing and Inspection for concrete testing for the fiscal year 2024 City of New Iberia Asphalt Patch and Overlay Project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion,
Second.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed and Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any discussion on this item? You want to tell us about it?
So this
Kinda the
is
same thing.
the third project.
Testing.
We bid this out again, pre-services, construction services, Louisiana Testing, who actually has the first job, the asphalt reconstruction. They were awarded that one. They're also gonna do this one. So it's the same thing. They're gonna go core the roads, get us a makeup of what's there, so we have a better understanding of how to fix it, and we can finish our engineering, and design, more accurately, and try to avoid issues. And then they'll be our testing on the construction side, this is probably the least testing material. There's really not a lot for them to do except plant inspection and some after construction stuff. But this is probably the least involved as far as their services go. It's the biggest project, but it has the least of their services. It's just the way it works.
Huh?
So,
Cracking cylinders.
but it's the same thing. There's a lump sum fee to do the preliminary work, and then the secondary fee is an estimate of services based on quantities that we put forth in the RFP.
Right.
Which you only pay what you use.
Questions, comments? Everybody good? Then please vote your machines. Thank you very much.
Thank y'all, and just so you know, I appreciate working with you guys. I appreciate the hard work you put in. I mean, it's been a collaboration. You know, you guys put in a lot of effort and time and communication on these last projects and even on this project. So, you know, the public never sees the preparatory work. They only see when the construction starts, but they don't understand it takes almost a year to get these things off the ground. So I want to thank y'all. You've been a good council to work with.
Well, you've been great to work with, I can tell you.
We're gonna get it done.
Yep.
All right?
You and your
for being
firm have
super
been
responsive.
Merry
really great
Christmas.
to work with.
Yeah,
Thank
he's
you.
super quick to respond. Thank you
We
for
try.
that.
We try.
I love how you're careful with your words. You're being careful that you don't tell them it's gonna be done tomorrow. Very careful. There we go.
I saw that, Chief.
Yeah,
Call him a brown nose.
what a good guy to work with. All right, 5D.
Resolution number 24-161, a resolution awarding contract to Delcon LLC for the American Rescue Plan Act Community Centers and Bank Avenue Park restroom upgrades project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
Okay, I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
That was a crazy one. Councilman Marlon Lewis, and I don't know who is the second.
Give it to Dee Dee.
Okay, Councilman D. Johnson Reed.
Take the ones when you won't be here, so take some.
Okay.
Hey, David, how are you?
Good evening. So last week, we accepted bids for the Community Center Restroom Upgrade Project. That's one of the last ARPA projects. We were able to scrounge up with some extra money. Delcon Construction LLC was the low bidder at $384,000. It's about $94,000 under budget. So we don't have any recommendations to take any of the deduct alternates. So we're full project. We're looking at about 150 days for construction, and probably could get started early January, maybe right after the new year, once we get contracts signed and everything.
Good, good. Okay, we got a bunch of them. I think the Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gosselin was
Just,
first.
when I looked at all the bids, I noticed the big difference. What's your feeling towards that 94,000?
Yeah,
checked
we
him out.
called the
It
contractor.
just stuck out.
Yeah, we called them immediately about that. They have in-house plumbing services
Okay.
as their savings.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
thought maybe the other one just didn't want the work or something.
Oh, no,
Oh,
no,
no.
no, they want the work.
You don't see that big. You don't see that big a difference normally.
Yeah, right, exactly. And this is all plumbing work, a lot of it,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, no,
it
that's
kinda
his- that was
gives
his
them
edge.
a leg up.
Yep. Councilman Dandahl?
Where is that contractor from?
The company originally was out of Berwick area, but I think they have a new management and they're out of Gonzales. That's the address. I'm not sure the exact headquarters, but that's what their addresses are located
I
for.
think this is the first time in a while I saw that Minville wasn't low. Minville
Yeah.
did a lot of projects throughout the city.
Yeah,
And being right there in Abbeville versus being where they from.
yeah. I was kind of surprised too. They usually are one of our low bidders.
Yeah. I think having the plumbing though, when it's a base, when it's all plumbing, I mean, that's how GC gets a job, you know? You gotta have an edge.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
back to, I know, I'm in an organization that's been renting a building. And
Yes, sir.
can we make sure the construction's not happening during that organization?
We know that we have quite a few functions because we all, not only do we have the restroom renovations, we have sprinklers going in at one of the gyms, we have other projects. David's aware, Heather's aware,
Yeah.
we will coordinate. I'm not saying that some things will not have happened prior or
Right.
after, but while those events, we are coordinating that to make sure that they can happen. We service a lot of the community and want to keep doing that.
And I want to mention, we are staging the construction so that at the Sear Gates, we're not going to be down all restrooms at once. We're going to do it in phasing, do one half and then the other half. West End at the MLK, we will do one half and the other half because it's just two sets. And then at Bank Avenue, it's just gonna be all at once.
Boom, thank you.
But thank you for that. We know we gonna have to play traffic cop. Yes, ma'am. You had a question or comment?
Yeah, David may have just answered my question though, because, all of these, so we're only doing the base bid, so all of the alternates, are those included or not?
Yeah, as
No,
deduction.
we're not gonna,
We didn't have to
we're
deduct
not
them.
accepting them, so that means we're not gonna deduct
Yeah,
those.
we didn't have to take
Okay,
that
good.
out.
All right, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure, because Bank Street was like,
Yeah.
deduct number one. I'm like, what?
No, all that gets.
That's a good thing right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want clarification.
a
Thank
good
you,
thing.
sir.
And went the right
Proud.
way.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Everybody good? Then please vote your machines. Thank you. Very excited about this project. These are the last parts and pieces to touch our gyms that will finish off our gyms. All right, 5E.
Resolution number 24-162, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a contract with Paul J. Allen, architect, for professional services related to Phase 2 of the Community Project Development Studies project.
I'll need a motion.
Motion.
Councilman Dan Dahl and Councilman David Broussard. This is a project that all of you supported the master study that we did, or were part of it in the first term and all of the second term. It created many of these projects you see in the front, which this will be coming down. This was just to honor my council members, especially those that are leaving. This is a smaller master study. We'll do 3 projects per district, plus 3 projects downtown. We'll have an economic development piece for the first time. And while we're doing this, we'll have a master study for the Pepperplex, because we have more work coming there. So the combination of all of that will give us the tools for this last term, because as I said, the people who are coming, that bottom row's for you. We have a whole row for other projects. Not that our other master study is not still a living and breathing document, but this will allow some new input, and this will allow us to continue on this kind of momentum that we started. But David, take it from there.
Just to kind of reiterate some of the points, so 3 projects per district, that's a total of 18 for the different 1 through 6 districts, 3 downtown projects, and we're gonna already sort of look at the downtown projects we've done and see how we can sort of grow upon them. There've been new ideas and new things that we've looked at since the last master plan that we can try to capitalize on. And then, of course, with the economic development, there's a lot of new developments happening, particularly around Highway 14 and 90. And we want to look at that a little further and make sure we do some planning as new developers come in and we have some ideas to flush out with them.
Yep. And we'll do the same thing. We'll update newiberianow.com. We'll use, again, it worked really well because we didn't have to pay the rent and I could block out a schedule. So I'll be presenting it again and we'll be filming it and put it on one block at newiberianow.com. So it'll be pretty much like we did the last one, just a smaller version. And I think it's going to create some buzz and some good projects. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Yes, ma'am.
So, the money to fund the new master study and these other projects, is this money coming from general fund?
This money will come from money that we wisely used under professional contracts. We
Okay.
still have some money left. If you remember, we put some money in that account so that for the ARPA projects, we could hire our local professionals. And so they have been very frugal with that money. So that's where we'll get the funding for it. As far as for the little presentation, I have a little bit of promotions money, so I will utilize that because it's well worth it to film it and to put the banners up like we did last time. We learned some lessons from last time. I think we can do it a little cheaper this time.
Okay.
But that's kind of how we're paying for it. And I mean, it's, we get one project and it's paying dividends already.
Okay, cool.
Anybody else?
And Mayor, this is for the new council to work on, right?
Yes. Yes.
They're gonna do a great job.
Of course they will. Of course they will. And it's for all of us, you know, it's every district, it's just like the last master study, it created projects throughout the whole town. And then we can rely on that, I'm hoping, I can't promise, but you know, both councils, I was able to give some money and say, use this in your district, pick from the master study. So one, the first step is to do a new master study. And then I'm just hopeful, some kind of way, I'll pull a rabbit out of the hat and we'll find some money that we can divide up amongst each district again, because that just really gets somebody motivated on the team. And look, I recognize, I sat in that chair for 8 years. There are times that it is, you're not trying to show off. You're not trying to do anything you shouldn't do, but the pressure's on you. The pressure's on you to show the 5,000 people that you represent that you're bringing something home. And so this is a good way to say, you know, here's where we're going to spend our efforts, and here's how we're going to get these things done. And it just shows, you know, the people that put you here, you know, that you're doing your job. Because sometimes, you know, you like you did earlier, sometimes you might have to remind people what you're doing or what. And then the other thing it does is the greatest team building exercise you could ever do. Because we all going to have 3 projects. We're all going to have some community projects that are joint projects. We're all involved in economic development. So what it does is just build us as a team and give us some goals. Anyway, anybody else? Everybody good? David, thank you. Please vote your machines. Cool, we start next week. Sir.
Next week is Christmas.
It's okay, we got a couple days. Great. Now we go to 5F.
Resolution number 24-163, a resolution approving change order number 2 for the Ann Street Park FPNC number 50 ML1 2203, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
So
Motion.
moved.
Representative Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman D. Johnson-Reed. David?
Okay, so this change order is for Ann Street Park. We had a credit for a light pole and a heat trace element. That was money given back to us. And then we have an item that we'd like to add on to the park to help resolve an issue that we're experiencing with the mulch that was added around the playground and workout area. So just to put it short, the mulch is sort of releasing a dark color as it rains. It's a natural process that mulch does sometimes. But unfortunately, it's running across the court where we're trying to get the basketball markings done. And we don't want to put the markings down because then the coloring would stain the markings. So what we've come up with is an idea to create a French drain system to divert the water away from the runoff onto the court. So this, with the credit and the debit, it comes out to about $1,600. I want to remind y'all this project was $5,000 under budget, so we're still within the balance of the project.
So,
Yes, ma'am.
so when do we think we are going to, once we do this work, when do we think that the park could potentially open?
Well, I think it's going to take a few weeks for them to do the work because they do have to kind of remove some of the borders and then do a little digging. I'm hoping sometime in January. I don't know an exact date mainly because of rain issues, but as soon as I walk out of here, I'm telling the contractor to get moving.
Okay.
So,
So I really asked that question for the people who watch the,
Yeah.
the council
it's
meetings.
coming soon. It's
Yeah.
coming soon. The contractor's ready to open it. We're ready to open it. It's just we don't want to rush it and then have an issue further down the road. So.
And so it's important that people don't allow their children to go and jump the fence to play in the park because it is still a construction zone.
Correct.
There's work going on.
Correct.
Okay.
Anybody else?
So we're looking at January, not next week, so.
Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, David. You got one more, huh?
Trying to run him
Isn't that
off.
moving?
No. The next one's big. I just meant thank you. Yeah. 5G.
Resolution number 24-164, a resolution authorizing the mayor to negotiate and execute an agreement between the City of New Iberia and architect Paul Ale for professional services for the Pepperplex Improvement Project, Phase 2, FPNC number 50 ML1 2301.
This is our 2.5 million that we've been waiting for about 9 months for the state to say we could get going. This is huge. This is the Pepperplex money. So do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilwoman DeeDee Johnson-Reed. Take it away, David.
All right. So, like Freddie mentioned, we have been waiting on this for a very long time. It's gone through a few different people in the state level, and I think we finally have somebody that's ready to move some things forward. So this is a combination of Phase 2, and Phase 3. The state decided just to make this one project.
Yes.
It's a total of $2.9 million.
Yep.
And so what we're going to do, and we've already started the process, we have a list of items. We'd like to continue to work with the groups, Evangeline, Little League, Iberia Soccer, the mayor's administration, with Richard, anyone else that they want to have involved to look at what we can do to further improve the park. There's definitely some big goals for the park. We want to finish turfing the one softball field we didn't get. And I'm not going to hit every item, but there's a lot. Soccer, we're going to do some additional improvements with some sidewalks, some ball catch netting areas. There's going to be a new pickleball court pavilion, a little office area and restroom for that as well. Parking lot improvements. The batting cages are going to get a roof over them, and we're going to get those active with some lighting and things like that. Am I missing anything?
Soccer gets a pavilion.
Soccer's
We're
in the
also going to
pavilion.
finish laying out, because cross-country is key. It's something that's easy to do, but we're going to lay out the path and kind of look at that. I had some conversations today, with Jonathan Norris about soccer. We talked about that. We talked about cross-country, because where they start and stop right now, it always floods. So we need to move that to some higher ground, because they had over 600 runners, so you had all your families there for the start and the stop. And so it's a lot of people. So cross-country is something that we're going to lay out the path. We're doing some of this now in the master study, but that's another element. And with 2.9, we always call the project 2.5 because that's what we're getting from the state, but then we have our match, so it comes to 2.9. So we'll be budgeting, meeting with the groups, and making sure that our users are happy with what we're doing. We know we can't do everything, but this is our next biggest push. We're not done after this. I'm not positive that the climate in Baton Rouge will fund more parks. Jane and I have talked. We're looking at grants. We're looking at other opportunities. It is in our TIF district. We have some economic opportunities, I think, coming our way, and that could be some new tax dollars coming in. So, we have opportunities, but this is, certainly the biggest push. We spent over $3 million to get the park where it is. We spent $500,000, and that's about to kick off to do the road and purchase the property for the road. But, this is this is as huge as the first project that we did. So very excited about it. I think it's going to touch a lot of kids. We already see the improvement. Evangeline Little League went up by hundreds of kids just by having done what we did. Soccer looks like it's really going to be active this year. So I think the combination of what the momentum we have that we have all been a part of, I think this is going to really kick it to the next level. So, and we'll be reporting more on it as we go. This just lets them start. Finally, after about 9 or 10 months of waiting, they get to begin the architecture. There's still a process. Plans have to go back for facility plan and review. We have a bid process. We have steps to get there, but this is finally, I can feel like, we're starting.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
we talked about one time before, it's been so long ago, is putting some kind of small fence between the soccer field and that road.
That's what he was calling the ball catch.
Oh, the ball
Yeah,
catch.
We'll be doing that. And it might be just a low fence with some gates, with some signage that just tells
Just
the
so they
kid,
don't run
look
into
out,
the-
you're going into the road, because
Right.
what happens now, it's a parking area, but I've witnessed it.
Well, I
When
would almost
when the ball
hit somebody.
goes,
Yeah, that-
I mean, those kids are running
It
after
came
it.
underneath a car and it went
Right.
in front of my truck and a kid was running.
Right.
It was,
And then we'll be putting a sidewalk in, because you can't really get to the last field.
yeah.
But that ball catch that he was talking about is
Good.
the fencing to stop that.
I don't know all the sports name, but that's great.
Coach, come on. Yes, ma'am.
I just want to thank you for continuing to push for this. I remember going to view your master's study, and I saw it, was that 5 years ago, I guess? I wasn't here yet.
Yes, ma'am.
And I always clung on to that. I was like, man, he wants to do something with the Pepperplex, so I wouldn't let it go. Because
thank you.
I knew what it could do. So I appreciate you constantly pushing to find funding and getting a capital outlay. It's really amazing right now, and it's going to be a lot better once we're done. So I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I have to always say to those moms and dads that started that, and then Senator Craig Romero at the time got the money, and then Governor, it's always politics. Then Governor Bobby Jindal took the money away, and those people hung in the game for all those years, trying to make it work. So that's, we just building off the back of the efforts of, the people that came before us. But thank you all for supporting it.
And we want to thank the
Yes.
legislatures for
Oh, my God, yes, for the money we're getting now.
the money we get now, because that's not a norm
No, it's not.
for us to get.
We got 1.5 and didn't spend it yet, and then got another million. So definitely we have to think back.
Yeah, because they took a lot of convincing.
It
I
did,
guess you
but-
call that.
but, Yeah, it's good, it's good. Thank you for saying that. Councilman David Broussard.
District 3.
No, that's it.
The old days, Dan. The old days, Ricky. The old days, Mayor. I hope we're gonna fix the swimming pool that you drive in the parking lot. A foot of water. That's embarrassing.
We didn't talk about that.
In the mud all over the fields, we had to walk through.
Yeah.
Ms. Marcotte, I'm glad you're keeping it up because you have a young kid. I went through my son,
Yeah.
my grandkids, in the mud. It wasn't nice.
We didn't talk about it, but parking improvements are coming,
It come a
sir.
long ways, since we started. And, boy, the Evangeline League people that on our back, my back,
Don't tell me it's
Hey,
in my
Paul.
district.
get us a road to get out of here.
Yeah, well,
Another road,
that took some inventing.
help. And I'll be darned, and through our turn, I'm glad to see that it's really coming to true. Now, we might not compete with Youngsville or Lafayette, but we're gonna get a little share. We're gonna get our share. It's gonna be hard to say that we can compete as hard as they're doing, but we're glad to see.
We're gonna be their little brother, and they're gonna send us the spillover.
I know,
And we
yes,
have
sir.
more restaurants and more hotels.
Oh, yeah.
So we're gonna get the spillover
It's a good asset.
from those. But hey, it's about our kids here, and that's what's important.
There was such a big thing you did, Mr. Mayor, and Miss Marcotte. I told you it wasn't gonna happen. You called me up. Where you gonna find that money to do all what you're talking about? I didn't realize we were talking some federal money. I had to apologize to you many a times.
No, it's not.
But thank you, Miss Marcotte.
The mayor found the money.
I know, but thank you for bringing it up a lot from the beginning of this 8 years,
Yeah.
the 4 years. Because I didn't know how we were gonna do it as a city to get all this done. But thank you, Mr. Mayor, and the rest of this council.
Okay, Councilman, who's next?
Don't matter.
Okay, Councilman
Okay.
Dan Dahl,
Look-
then I'll do you, and then.
With your train, and look, they call me coach, I know nothing about sports. But
That's why I said that.
I want to tell you, I felt this way with this project, like you did with your crossroads. And that Evangel was in District 6, and they shutting it down. And we were doing a sewer plant. And we found a way to use that buffer zone for that Pepperplex. It goes back a long way, huh?
Yeah, that's why Attorney
Okay,
Glass.
that's my passion. As much as I don't know sports, that was my passion before, and that's the reason I got back up here, and Mayor knows that, to make that finish.
Yep.
And without the parents, this wouldn't have happened.
True.
It was, believe it or not, it came a long way, and a lot of donations was done. Each administration, that's what's bad about administrations, good or bad. If that's not their priority, then you gotta wait till someone's come back and it's a priority. And, we could have lost it. At one point, it was still a point, you probably know how bad it looked. They called it the goat ranch, or whatever
It
they
was
call it
about to
back
go.
there. It was bad. But I told somebody today, a lawyer, I said, y'all need to go see that place. Because they were saying some bad things about when they saw it 5 years ago. You need to go see it. Everybody need to go see it.
Oh, yeah.
And after another year, 2 years, go see it, because it's something to be proud of. And it was something that it took a lot of people to make it happen. And without the parents being involved, it wouldn't have happened. And if you don't think it affects kids, go opening day. That is unbelievable. But I want to thank the mayor, because we fought for it. That was one thing I told us to do. We need to finish that, because that was something like, it reminded Mr. Broussard, he's going to do, when you want to do something and you drive to finish it, that was one thing I wanted done. Even though I knew nothing about sports, I seen what it did for the kids. And I had the opportunity, probably most of y'all did, to throw out a pitch one time. And it was big. It wasn't a good pitch, but it was big because we knew we had something that our kids can come to. And it's about our kids. If we get tournaments here, that's great. But it's about our kids. Some place for our kids to go.
Yep.
And it's really nice. The public needs to go see it. And after this money we put into it, this could be unbelievable. And with that road, it's all coming together. And like Marla said, we might start something, and it might be you out of office before you see the end of it. It happens all the time. But at least you can see the end of it. And I think we where people are starting to get involved and believing that New Iberia is a place you can stay with your kids and have a great life. And something just like that can make it happen, and I think it is. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
So just to echo on what Dan said, you know, if we don't hear it every week that families are leaving, going, relocating here, but the key to us is if we can keep the kids here, the families are gonna stay here. And there's no science behind it. So this is gonna keep our kids here and help our families convinced to stay in our city and support what our vision is. And it's super exciting. But, you know, Mr. David, I respect everything you did, but I'm gonna make you a promise tonight. As soon as the mayor starts selling sponsorship signs, I'm gonna pay for one that says David Broussard was here. Because you were part of it, and you at first you were against it, but you came on board, and we appreciate that.
But Dan, you're right. Thank you, sir, for sticking it out with those boys. There are a lot of people calling us way back what we can do, but the old Levi's in the league, we were all there too. We were there too. That was some good old days. You didn't have no mud over there.
No.
God knew.
Now, I got a picture in my office when we had the groundbreaking and how Pepperplex became with the donations.
Yeah.
I mean, way back when, I had hair, I was skinny, it was a long time ago. But I could tell you, it's something to be proud of.
But thank you, Dan.
No,
Thank you. Yes, sir.
all I was gonna do, since I've been in the spirit of commending Brooke, you know, we all have our passions up here.
Yeah.
And Brooke, I realize that Pepperplex has been your passion. So thank you for being our eyes and our ears over there. Because I don't go much. I'm kind of like, since it's talking about sports, I'm kind of like, Coach, I don't have boys. I own a barbershop. Most sports are played on Saturday. I'm in the barbershop getting them ready for their team pictures. And I'm not real passionate about getting to the parks and getting to the sporting events. But we need somebody, and that's what teamwork is about. So your passion, even though it's in Mr. Broussard's district, your passion helped us to be able to celebrate this thing, you know. And again, it's one of the projects that we started. The next council is they're going to finish. This is going to be one that the next council is going to be able to celebrate and say they completed, you know, because we didn't complete it. But it's just, Dan, you know, I want to say something to you, Coach. You said you don't know much about sports, but you know what it takes to put smiles on kids' face and to keep families happy. And, you know, again, can't forget about First Solar and that plant over there, because that's going to bring some families back and some more kids back. Larry Shaw and his group over there did a great job getting that here, and I'm just grateful for that, because what is going to be, I heard 1,700 jobs. Is it? I heard 300 one time, 400, then lately I heard 1,700 jobs. So we got to have some places for those families, kids to, you know, do recreation. You know, so yeah, we're going to be all right. Those families are going to come back. We're going to have some new families. You know, again, we talk about competition with Broussard, and I saw your face when they mentioned the word competition. And we're really not in competition.
We know Iberia.
said that from the beginning.
Yeah.
New Iberia has its own identity.
Yep.
Embrace it and move on.
That's exactly right.
There you go.
That's us.
Amen.
Anybody else? Well, then please vote your machine. Thank y'all. All right,
Thank
David.
y'all, and have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you, man.
Merry Christmas.
I'll call you tomorrow.
I forgot David was up there.
David, you don't have off next week.
Hey, David, good working with you too, man.
Nice working with y'all as well.
Thank you. He's running before I give him something to do.
How is all this agenda items come in order? Huh?
5H.
Resolution number 24-165, a resolution awarding contract to Iberia Aggregates and Construction LLC for the American Rescue Plan Act Major Drainage Cleanout Project, Area D, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
This is the last of our $1 million we're spending on drainage. This is the last contract that we let. So this is awesome. I need a motion.
So move. Second, whatever.
Councilman Dan Dahl, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Discussion. Anybody? Everybody good?
I'm definitely
Well,
good.
good, they're doing hers right now, yeah.
Coming. I
Yeah,
told you.
I mean, and it's cleaned out now. I
Oh
mean,
yeah, it's
I'm-
good.
it's
I pass
beautiful.
every day, and hey, if that doesn't drain, nothing will.
You
Yeah.
didn't go take a picture next to that big piece of equipment?
We could do that. We
Well, I
could do
did
that.
take a picture so that the public can see that actually are doing the work.
Yeah, good, good.
Posted on
Yeah.
Facebook, you
Yes,
know,
sir.
the Facebook court.
Yeah, that's it.
Man,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
sorry if somebody mad with me for commending. Again, sewage and drainage. We
Yeah.
big time on sewage and drainage. Big time. We did a lot of work. This council did a lot of work.
Oh, yeah.
Found the money, made it work.
Right.
Made it work. You had a great team, you know.
Believe me, I know
How
that.
about your administration over at wastewater and Public Works and all those people? You had a
It starts with the council, and then my department heads and our 250 employees for every department. But it's all teamwork, you know. It's coming together because we're working together. But it starts here.
Because, man, there's a lot, I know we still got our flooding issues, but there's a lot of places that used to flood really bad that don't flood no more. The people don't tell us, oh, it don't flood there no more. They just tell us when it's flooding.
Don't curse us. We flat, man. Don't curse.
We gonna promise you.
Good, thank you. Anybody else? Please vote your machines. Get this one going. Thank you, thank you. 5J. Oh, 5I. Well, man, I'm jumping. 5I, sorry.
Resolution number 24-166, a resolution authorizing and directing the mayor and/or his staff to complete and execute the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for and on behalf of the city of New Iberia.
Okay. I need a motion.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman D. Johnson Reed, second by Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Any discussion? It's pretty simple.
So I will say this questionnaire says that our term ends 12/31/2024, so I don't know what you're gonna do for those next 6 days after that.
That's it, man. Me running naked, no council. Oh, I can do whatever I want. Dang, found the loophole. No.
I laughed when I saw that.
It is kind of funny. I had thought of that too the other day, that I didn't have any supervision. Anybody else? Then please vote your machines. Thank you very much. Now, 5J.
Resolution number 24-167, a resolution awarding contract to Enviro Air Incorporated for environmental testing of structures in the American Rescue Plan Act One Block at a Time 2 blighted property project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
These next two are for our in-house demolition. Anyway, do I have a motion?
Motion. Second.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed and Councilwoman Brooke Marcotte. Is there any discussion on this item? Everybody good? Then I'd ask you please vote your machines. Now we have another one, 5K.
Resolution number 24-168, a resolution awarding contract to LNK Demolition LLC for demolitions of structures in the American Rescue Plan Act One Block at a Time 2 blighted property project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed, Councilman Marlon Lewis. Any discussion on this item? Guess we'll get it going.
So the work's gonna start in January?
Yes, I would think so. They have some testing to do, so it might take a little bit longer. Let's not say January, let's just say when our testing is complete.
Okay.
No other questions? Please vote your machines. Thank you very much. 5L.
Resolution number 24-169, a resolution approving change order number 1 for the Sucrose Drive Headworks Upgrade and Rehabilitation Project, and authorizing the mayor to execute any and all documentation in connection therewith.
This is some fiberglass grading that our contractor and Craig, who's here, our department head, noticed that it needs to be changed. It could be a potential safety hazard down the road. It's just at the end of its life cycle, let's put it that way. So, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas, Councilman Marlon Lewis. Is there any questions or comments or anything for Craig back there? Look at it.
No.
Everybody good? Then please vote your machines. Great job, Craig. All right, bro.
He's been waiting to get out of here.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, wait, I stopped
Made that
talking.
man stay here for that.
Look, but he's good to work with. He's catching on. All right, 6A.
Introduction of special ordinance number 2024-2025-05, an ordinance amending the budget for the replacement of the evaporator coil at City Park and setting for public hearing on January 7th, 2025.
I need a motion.
Motion.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed, Councilman Marlon Lewis. This is a fairly new unit, and the evaporator coil went out. The coil is under warranty. The labor isn't. We got some bids on it. Any questions or comments?
Mayor, is it
Yes, sir.
operating right now, the system?
Barely.
Okay.
I mean, probably 60%, we think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there's more than one,
Yeah.
so, with what we have, it's probably at 60%.
Okay, it's still operating.
Yeah, it's still
Okay.
operating. Anybody else? Then I'd ask you to please vote your machines. Great, thank y'all very much. We get this done. 6B.
Introduction of ordinance number 2024-37, an ordinance amending approved budget allocations for American Rescue Plan Act funds received by the city of New Iberia and setting for public hearing on December 30th, 2024.
This is moving all the money around for all the things we're doing, with the ARPA money that's left. I need a motion.
Motion.
Second.
Councilman D. Johnson Reed, Mayor Pro Tem Ricky Gonsalas. Any questions or comments?
Do we have a total of what's left?
We're not gonna have anything left, we hope.
That's the plan,
But if
right?
we do, I mean, it would not be because we didn't try to spend it. So all of that extra money's going into the bathrooms, as we talked about and moved, and then we have a contingency for one block at a time, because when we added the roofs,
Right.
we definitely have to have that. I can tell you, after inspecting all the properties, we very much need that.
Yeah.
But that will take all the money, if we will run out of time. We have a special meeting that I'm asking y'all to come to, on the 30th, which is one more vote so that this is all done. And that allows us to spend that extra money. If we didn't do that, then we'd be giving a lot of money back. The goal is to try to spend it all. I mean, I could get in a situation where there's $20,000 or $30,000 left that I can't spend, because the way that by law and by the federal rules, it has to be allocated. And what we do on every step of this, we consult with our attorney, we call our auditors who are gonna audit this at the end and make sure that, what we're doing is okay. So we constantly are going back and forth and checking. We had some meetings today to make sure that all the legal documents that people had to sign, we do still have a few of them that are working on their documents, but by the end of the year, that's the close.
Right.
If everything's not done, whatever's not done, I cannot spend that money. So that's why, with your help of this special meeting and over the last couple of meetings, we've been shuffling all of this to try to get the maximum impact we can out of those funds. Yes, ma'am, you still have the floor.
Okay, so, is this like some of the money that we could potentially spend in the parks?
Well, some of it is the money we're spending on the bathrooms and in the 3 parks.
Okay, because, we talked the other day and I was asking about maybe getting a couple of benches.
Right, I'm gonna
To
find
put in
another
Ann Street
way. I
Park.
do want those benches, cause we doing something for kids there. I'm just gonna find a way to buy you benches. I'm scared to commit that I'll have money left. And I'm really worried, or wanna be sure that we have money for those contingencies on the roof. So the benches aren't that expensive. I will get you some benches. I will get the parks some benches, cause we did all this stuff for kids. You got this nice playground area, you got basketball, you got workout, I mean, there's gonna be some parents there that
Yeah,
need some
they need a place to sit. Right.
So I'll get some benches.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's the right thing. Yes, sir.
So on one block at a time, if one of the recipients can't get their paperwork straight and they get denied the claim, can we roll over to another project without amending the budget, or we just lose that money?
We are gonna run out of time.
Okay, that's what I meant,
So
yeah.
you can't just say I'm substituting.
Okay.
Because of all the paperwork. When you look at the title work, when you look at the extensive, and I need to commend him for that, the extensive amount of time our attorneys had to put into this, and our clerk, it's way more extensive than you think. So the idea of saying, well, we'll swap out
Yes,
so-and-so for so-and-so. Yes, sir, Jeff?
But we did do 21
Some
new
alternates,
contracts
yeah,
for
yes.
alternates.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
we
you know.
have the original bunch, and then we have alternates that qualify,
Right,
and we're moving people up
yes.
to
Yeah,
fill
so
gaps.
we're trying to.
So they have to be moved up before the close of the year? Or
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Once December 31st comes,
So you can't move anybody
You can't
up.
move anybody.
The money's got to be committed,
Okay.
which
We
is
have
why we're
taken
trying to get all
steps
this done.
to try to get it all
Right.
done, but it's cramming, I'll tell you. And
Yeah.
then the houses are complicated. I
Very.
don't regret this at all. It's good. I went to 30 houses. Myself, my assistant Hillary, and David Allen. We went to all 30 houses for the roofs. I met some of the nicest people in this community, and they're appreciative. I don't know that I can do them all, like there's one that I think the structure will not let us, which we knew we might have that. There's some that haven't quite got their paperwork straight. I am very nervous as a contractor. We have a good contingency in there, but, that's why we're gonna do the roofs first.
Some of those are big.
And a few of them, because we had this pure process. I didn't know who we were talking about. We looked at the grading scale, that was income, that was age, I think, that was disability. So it was pure, And Laney did a wonderful job of grading everybody, and we didn't know a name, we didn't know anything. We didn't know what the houses looked like. I can tell you, I was shocked at how, I mean, I've been a contractor for 40 years, this is my business. I'm shocked at how a couple of those houses are huge. So it's a lot of roof squares, it's a lot of area, okay? Some weren't, some ways I kind of pictured it as we kind of invented this, they small, shy